Imagine a government as a borrower, much like an individual taking out a loan. When a government borrows money, it typically does so by issuing bonds. These bonds are promises to repay the borrowed amount, along with interest, at a specific time. A government default occurs when a country fails to meet these financial obligations. This means it can't repay its debts on time or in full. For the country, a default can damage its creditworthiness, making it difficult to borrow money in the future. It can also lead to economic instability, as investors lose confidence and withdraw their investments. Creditors face the risk of losing some or all of their investment. Understanding the causes and consequences of government defaults is crucial for investors and policymakers. Zambia, a landlocked country in southern Africa, has been grappling with a severe debt crisis for several years. In November 2020, Zambia defaulted on a $42.5 million payment on its sovereign debt, marking its first default since independence in 1964. The default was due to a sharp decline in copper prices, mounting government debt, and the economic fallout from the COVID-19 pandemic. Following the default, Zambia entered into negotiations with its creditors to restructure its debt. The IMF approved a $1.3 billion loan program in August 2022 to help stabilize the economy and implement reforms. Despite these efforts, Zambia's debt situation remains precarious. As of 2023, the country's external debt stood at $35 billion, a significant increase from $6.9 billion in 2006 after receiving debt relief. For investors holding Zambian government bonds, a default poses significant risks. The most immediate concern is the potential loss of principal. When a government defaults, it may be unable or unwilling to repay its bondholders in full or on time. This can result in investors losing a portion or even all of their investment. Bondholders also face the risk of delayed or reduced interest payments. A default can trigger a loss of confidence in the kwacha, leading to a decline in its value relative to other currencies. For investors, a weaker kwacha can erode the value of their investments. It can also make it more difficult for Zambian businesses to repay foreign currency-denominated debts, potentially leading to wider economic problems. Section 4. Protecting your investments strategies for bondholders. One approach is diversification. By spreading their investments across different countries, sectors, and asset classes, investors can reduce their exposure to any single risk. For example, an investor concerned about Zambia's debt situation could consider diversifying their portfolio by investing in bonds issued by other African countries with stronger credit ratings, or in other asset classes such as equities or real estate. Another strategy for bondholders is to carefully assess the creditworthiness of the issuer before investing. This involves analyzing the country's economic fundamentals, including its debt levels, economic growth prospects, and political stability. Investors should conduct their own due diligence and not rely solely on credit ratings when making investment decisions. Section 5. Insurance as a safety net, mitigating risks in uncertain times. Investors can consider insurance-linked products as a way to mitigate the risks associated with a potential Zambian default. These products, such as credit default swaps, CDS, provide a form of insurance against the risk of a borrower defaulting on its debt. A CDS acts like an insurance policy, where the buyer makes regular payments to the seller, who agrees to compensate the buyer if the underlying debt instrument defaults. Another insurance-linked product gaining traction in Zambia is Risk Contingent Credit, RCC. RCC is designed to protect farmers and financial institutions against climate-related risks, such as droughts or floods. The expansion of RCC and other innovative insurance products could play a vital role in enhancing resilience and mitigating risks in Zambia's agricultural sector. Section 6. The road ahead. Zambia's path to economic recovery. Zambia's economic future hinges on its ability to navigate its current debt crisis, implement much-needed reforms, and foster sustainable and inclusive growth. Key to this recovery is economic diversification, reducing the country's dependence on copper exports and promoting growth in other sectors, such as agriculture, manufacturing, and tourism. The government has outlined plans to diversify the economy, including investing in infrastructure, improving the business environment, and promoting value addition in the agricultural sector. Addressing corruption and improving governance are also crucial for creating a more attractive investment climate and fostering sustainable growth. Transparency, accountability, and the rule of law are essential for building investor confidence. Balancing fiscal sustainability with social protection measures will be essential to ensure that the most vulnerable segments of society are not disproportionately affected by economic reforms. Section 7. A global perspective. Zambia's default in a changing world. Zambia's debt crisis is part of a broader trend of rising debt levels in emerging markets and developing economies. This trend raises concerns about the sustainability of global debt levels and the potential for a wave of sovereign defaults. The ongoing war in Ukraine, rising inflation, and tighter monetary policy in developed economies further complicate the outlook for emerging markets. Addressing this challenge requires a coordinated global response, including debt relief initiatives and support for developing countries in building more resilient and diversified economies. Zambia's experience serves as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of the global economy and the importance of addressing debt sustainability to prevent future crises.